Hospice care is really a very holistic approach to caring for somebody. It's really about what matters to you rather than what's the matter with you. It's about providing that dignity, compassion and support at those really, really difficult times at the end of life when you need it most.
Our job is to give the best possible care we can to people who are at the end of life, and our philosophy is that every day matters and that hospice care is about living and making the most of the time that you've got left. Really, one of the important things for us is to make sure that the ward is as welcoming as possible, that it is a home away from home for our patients and for their loved ones, their families. And the garden plays such an important role in hospice care. And that garden is used in so many different ways. So it can be used to connect with nature, it can be used to help manage anxiety, it can be used to take you out of the kind of situation you're in and put you in a headspace where you're feeling more present.
There's a really huge link, I think, between gardens, nature and hospice care. They have huge restorative power. You can meet socially and where you can remember, and remembrance is a really big part of hospice care when we're talking to bereaved families, and just a place where they can reflect, remember loved ones in that kind of calming environment and bringing you really back to sort of Mother Nature.
The original inspiration was this marvellous place called the Olive Houses in Mallorca. You've got these sort of a mixture of architecture and natural landscape in perfect harmony. You know, nothing's been moved out the way. The houses have been built and the gardens in and around the boulders. And when you walk through this, you've got this marvellous feeling of grounding and solace, and that's what I want to bring to Chelsea. So the garden is a series of rooms. Some big, small, so you've got sort of more communal areas and more private areas. And they're all connected by this wonderful sinuous bench, which we're calling the Together bench. And it's going to weave right through the garden. So each room will have a section of bench in it that will weave right through the garden and tie the whole scheme together.
Well, this is how I steam the wood. This is the rocket steamer, so it's a vertical steamer. At the moment we're on 98.6 degrees, and it's been like that now for about 45 minutes. Where we heat the wood up in the steamer to about 100 degrees. It melts the lignin in the wood, and the lignin is like the glue of the wood, so it becomes very pliable. When it cools down, the glue goes solid again and it holds its shape. So I'm just bending it to that last piece of wood, and then I'll clamp the middle down so it's flush with the framework, and leave that for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, so it sort of takes its shape. We're using these really beautiful rosehead copper nails to keep it down. There you go, and that's basically it.
So the bench weaves like a stream right through the garden. Having worked on some previous hospice gardens before, I learned that it's very important to make sitting areas all-inclusive. So, you know, if patients are in a wheelchair or in a bed, they can be in amongst their family members or their siblings. So I've broken the bench up into 5 pieces, and you'll have people on either side of you. Being rather than stuck on the end of a bench, you're going to be right in amongst your loved ones or staff or carers.
So we're incredibly excited to have a garden at Chelsea this year. And one of the key elements of the garden that we're really going to lean into is about remembrance. Often in hospice gardens, there'll be some feature that helps people to remember their loved ones, whether that's a path with named pebbles, for example, or whether that will be a wall with ribbons. There's different ways that hospice gardens can really keep those memories alive. And we want to do the same within the Garden of Compassion. And so we're going to be having some Together pebbles that will feature as part of our show garden this year.
One of the things I really hope that people will take away from when they see our garden at the show is the vital role that gardens play in providing, you know, as positive an experience as possible at a particularly difficult time of life.
After the show, the garden will be relocated to St Cuthbert's Hospice in Durham, which we're very, very excited about. And the garden will slot perfectly in there so that patients and their families, staff and volunteers can come out, use the garden every day and just benefit from all the joy that will bring.